Once upon a time, in a kingdom nestled between silver mountains and whispering forests, there stood a palace of white stone and blue glass. The kingdom was called Aurelian, a land known for its music, its kindness, and its belief that even the weakest light could pierce the deepest darkness. It was here that Princess Ilara was born. From the moment of her birth, the palace bells rang with joy. The king, Alaric, was a wise and gentle ruler, and the queen, Seraphina, was beloved for her compassion. Yet, amid the celebration, a quiet sorrow settled over the royal chambers. The princess did not open her eyes. The healers whispered among themselves, the scholars consulted ancient texts, and the priests prayed through the night. At dawn, the truth was spoken aloud. Princess Ilara was blind. The queen wept softly, fearing the cruelty of the world her daughter would never see. The king held the child close and declared that the kingdom would be shaped to protect her. "If she cannot see the world," he said, "then the world will learn to see through her." Ilara grew beneath vaulted ceilings and sunlit gardens she could not behold, yet she learned the palace by sound and touch. She knew the marble corridors by the echo of her footsteps, the rose garden by the velvet softness of petals and the sweet ache of their scent. Music became her language of color. The low notes of the cello were deep blues and purples. The high notes of the flute were gold and white. The people of Aurelian often said that the princess did not lack sight, she possessed a different kind of vision. As the years passed, Ilara's kindness became legend. She listened more than she spoke, and when she spoke, her words carried weight. Servants confided their sorrows to her, and travelers left the palace lighter than they had arrived. Yet beyond the palace walls, not everyone shared the kingdom's warmth. To the east lay the barren land of Virex, ruled by Lord Malachar, a man whose heart had hardened like the cracked earth of his realm. He envied Aurelian's prosperity and despised its gentle king. When rumors reached him of a blind princess loved by all, Malachar laughed. "A kingdom led by weakness," he sneered, "is a kingdom waiting to fall." On Ilara's 18th birthday, a grand celebration filled the palace. Musicians played, poets recited verses, and the air shimmered with joy. At the height of the festivities, a hooded stranger appeared at the palace gates. His voice was smooth as polished stone, and he introduced himself as a wandering seer. He asked for nothing but an audience with the princess. The king hesitated, but Ilara requested that the stranger be allowed in. When the seer stood before her, she felt a chill ripple through her fingers as he bowed and kissed her hand. "I bring you a gift," he said softly, "a chance to see the world as others do." The court fell silent. Ilara's heart raced, but she remained calm. "Sight is not a gift to be given lightly," she replied. "What price do you ask?" The seer smiled. "Only trust." Before anyone could stop him, he pressed a cold object into her palm. Pain exploded behind her eyes, and darkness, deeper than she had ever known, swallowed her. When she awoke, the seer was gone, and the kingdom trembled beneath a terrible truth. The stranger had been Malachar in disguise, and the object he had given her was a cursed crystal. It did not grant sight, it stole something far greater. Ilara's inner vision, the gift that allowed her to feel the hearts of others, was fading. As days turned into weeks, the princess grew distant. Though still blind, she now felt isolated in a way she never had before. The people noticed the change, and despair spread through Aurelian like a slow shadow. Unable to bear her daughter's suffering, King Alaric summoned scholars from distant lands. Among them was a young healer named Rowan, known not for magic, but for unwavering patience. Rowan spoke little, but when he did, his words were steady and sincere. He believed that curses born of darkness could only be undone by acts of selfless light. Rowan approached Ilara not as a healer, but as a friend. He sat beside her in the gardens, describing the sky as he imagined she might feel it. He told her of storms and starlight, of ordinary people doing extraordinary good. Slowly, Ilara felt a spark stir within her chest. One night, Rowan revealed an ancient legend. He said, "There is a spring hidden deep within the whispering forest. It is said to reflect the truth of the heart, but the journey is perilous." Ilara did not hesitate. "Take me," she said. "Even if I cannot be healed, I must try." Disguised as common travelers, they left the palace at dawn. The forest welcomed them with rustling leaves and unseen eyes. Along the way, they faced trials that tested not strength, but compassion. When they encountered a wounded wolf, Ilara insisted they help it. When bandits threatened them, Rowan chose mercy over violence, offering food instead of a blade. At last, they reached the spring. Its waters were still, reflecting not faces but memories. Ilara knelt and dipped her hands into the pool. She saw, not with her eyes, but with her soul, every act of kindness she had ever given and received. The curse cracked like brittle glass. Light flooded her senses, not as images, but as understanding. She realized that true sight was never about eyes. It was about seeing truth, pain, and hope. When Ilara returned to Aurelian, she was changed. Though her eyes remained blind, her inner vision burned brighter than ever before. The people felt it, and the kingdom revived. Malachar, sensing his power waning, marched on Aurelian. But when he stood before the palace, Ilara met him calmly. She spoke not of vengeance, but of his loneliness and fear. For the first time, Malachar saw himself clearly. His anger crumbled, and he fell to his knees defeated not by force, but by truth. Peace returned to the land. Ilara later ascended the throne, ruling with wisdom unmatched. She married Rowan, not as a reward, but as a partner. Together, they taught the kingdom that darkness is not the absence of sight, but the absence of compassion. And so the story of the blind princess spread across lands and generations, a reminder that the truest vision comes from the heart, and that even in darkness, love can teach us how to see.